Hey there, my name is LexC, and thank you so much for sitting down with me on this interview with Voyage ATL. This is Art and Life with Aldith Cleary.
Start C, baby.
That's so weird saying Aldith Cleary, my first name, because whenever I introduce myself to somebody, I never say my first name. They're usually going to get it wrong. I always just say Alexis or LexC. But anyway, my name is LexC. I am a singer, songwriter, and audio engineer based out of Atlanta, Georgia. I was born in Fayetteville, North Carolina to two parents who were in the Army at the time. I've been singing since I was 3 years old. And I actually remember my first performance being at my grandparents' church in Georgetown, Delaware, where I sang Amazing Grace. I've been writing poetry and writing songs since I was about 8 years old, but I never let on that I had talent until about 7th grade. That's where I let friends and family know that I could sing and I was writing and doing all these things. So I actually started out recording songs on my laptop, which had a built-in microphone. I was in my dad's garage, and in 7th grade, I managed to release two 15-track albums, and I sold it for $5 to my friends and teachers back then. From then on, I've done talent shows for my school and performing at sports events, singing the national anthem. I even got to perform for my high school graduation in 2012, where I sang Believe by Fantasia. This was Richmond Hill High School in Georgia. Yeah, it's basically Savannah. Nobody really knows where Richmond Hill is. But I've always loved singing, but I'll say that I took it seriously when I decided to go to college to the Art Institute of Atlanta for audio production. I actually attended with Dara Carter, who I believe y'all did coverage on her maybe a few months back from this article. But growing up, I think I made my parents believe that I wanted to be a lawyer because of the movie Legally Blonde. I would watch that like over and over and over again. So it may have come as a surprise when I told them that I wanted to get into music and I wanted to pursue singing as a career. One of my parents is Jamaican, and with immigrant parents from any country, the arts is not a real job. So there was a bit of battle of what I should do once I got into college, but eventually they were convinced that music was going to be a good fit for me and something that I should go ahead and pursue. I graduated with a bachelor's in audio production in 2016. During that time and through the present, I've interned and worked at a few studios around Atlanta as an audio engineer. And I've been able to work with a few big names like Ear Drummers, Mace, Columbus Short, Jay Holiday, and a few other people. So my vocals are kind of sprinkled in a bunch of songs throughout all the people that I've worked with. The cool thing about being an engineer is having the knowledge to record myself when inspiration strikes. I've been fortunate enough to be employed by a studio that allows me to use the space on my own time, provided that I don't get in the way of the quality for other artists that come in and book the session, that book the studio. But I'm currently promoting a song I'm featured on with Big Hookz. The song is called No Love. I'm working on original material for myself, as well as still engineering, writing, and vocally producing for other upcoming artists. The main studio I work out of is Rich Productions in Marietta, so if you're interested, you should come by and book a session with me. I am a singer, songwriter, and audio engineer, and I always tell people that in that order. It's one thing to sing. It's another thing to sing and write. It's another thing to sing and write and be an audio engineer and be a female engineer on top of that, because that's just not something that you really see in this male-dominated industry. I also play piano, mostly by ear, but I dance and I vocally produce and coach other artists as well. So I sing mostly R&B, though sometimes I do dabble in what I call ratchet music. I get inspiration from my own experiences and the experiences of my friends or anything that I've seen on social media. When I was younger, I would imagine instrumentals in my head and would create entire albums out of pure imagination and how I would want my instrumental to be, how I wanted it to go. As I got older, my parents invested in a piano for me, so suddenly I was able to create my own beats and get out all those ideas that I had built up in my head for so long. In college, I got access to the recording studios as well as friends who could produce with me and for me. So the evolution of how I create my music has gone from all in my head to being able to immediately get all of my ideas out into an audible presentation. The way my process works right now, again, I've been very fortunate to have friends who produce, and every once in a while they'll send me some things to write for myself or just to do a reference track, possibly shopping it to other artists. So that's helped me to accumulate a good library of beats. I'll search through a library trying to find something that's fitting my mood at that particular time. I'll even go on YouTube sometimes if I don't feel anything that's in that library. I'll get something from YouTube that immediately speaks to me. Once I find a beat that matches my emotion, I throw the beat into Pro Tools and I get into the booth and I just put down a melody track, speaking some gibberish, not even really doing words, but just something that I feel like will flow nicely on the beat. And then I go back and I fill it in with words later. So I may take some time to really understand how I'm feeling in the moment and think about how I want to say what I'm feeling and thinking. The rest is fitting my thoughts into whatever melody that I came up with and I've created, and I work that until I get something that I like. Growing up, I was very shy and had a hard time openly expressing my feelings to people. I don't know why, but I was an extremely sensitive kid. I was very quiet, very much to myself, and it was almost as if I was afraid to speak to people. But poetry became one of the ways I could get out of the things. Poetry became one of the ways I could get out my feelings and my thoughts. Then I discovered I could sing, and suddenly a new way to express myself came about. I'd see the influence of people like Aaliyah, Beyonce, and Alicia Keys. Those are my top 3 influencers that I always name. And I think how amazing it is that myself and millions of people can connect because of music. How we're all able to have this common feeling because of a song. I really think that's amazing. And those 3 ladies that I listed, I feel like they represent a good, well-rounded view of the type of artist I strive to be. We all go through so many different struggles, and we're all secretly fighting battles. With my music, I hope to connect people by talking about all the things we experience in some capacity. I want to make it okay for us to be open and share our feelings. There are so many songs out there that don't promote love, they don't promote community, and don't promote healthy relationships in general. I want to help let people know we don't have to struggle alone because we do need each other. I'm no better than you, and you know better than I, because we're both going through the same thing. We both need each other, and life sucks bad enough as it is sometimes. We should be trying to help one another out, help each other get through this thing called life. With my artwork, I strive to be as real as possible and as raw as possible, especially if my mental state needs it. Music is a therapy for me, as it must be for so many other people, for us to be able to connect the way that we do through music. As an artist, I define success as consistently feeling happy and pleased with what I've done for the day. I used to stress a lot about what I'm doing and what I'm not doing compared to other people who are on a similar path as me, but that was really robbing me of my joy and my sleep, and I am not team no sleep at all. I value my sleep. I need my sleep to recharge my batteries and to feel refreshed and happy and nice for the rest of the day. So we need sleep to be regularly functioning people. So I'm definitely not team no sleep. To be able to not compare myself and my movements to the movements of other people has truly been the most amazing feeling for me. There's so much freedom in not worrying where everyone else is. I can focus on my goals and my stride, free of the pressure of keeping up with the Joneses. Some people make running in place look really good, and I'm okay where I am. So I've really found a lot of peace in knowing that this is my race. I don't need to compare myself to anyone else. A key characteristic to maintaining success as an artist is to be able to see the positive in everything. Artists have to deal with a lot professionally, and I'll say most of us are struggling personally. That's why the art comes out so good. We've just figured out a nice way to express what we're going through. We can go through so much, yet still create something that most others can relate to. And that in itself is a positive feat. So you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, or my website. Everything is at LexC ATL. That's at LexC ATL. I would love it if you would check out my website, especially. It's www.lexiatl.com. From there, you can subscribe to my newsletter, which I send out once a month to let you know, what went on in the previous month, what's about to happen in the upcoming month or months. And it's just a good way for you to keep up with what I'm doing if you're interested in that sort of thing. You can follow me on all available platforms like Spotify, Pandora, Apple Music, iTunes, SoundCloud. If you're interested in that, I do have some material on there as well. Engage with me on my posts on my Instagram and Facebook and all of that, and engage in the discussion so I can get a better understanding of who you are and what kind of followers that I have in general. You can find my music on my website. My music is also available on iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, SoundCloud, etc. As I said earlier, look for LexC. Now, there's been a lot of debate and a lot of battle in trying to get my name spelled properly on these sites, but it is what it is at this point. It's LexC, L-E-X, capital C, all one word. The C is capital. Or you can search for LexC, all one word with a lowercase c, or you can search Lex, L-E-X, space, capital C, and that should bring up some things. Well, everybody, that is the end of my interview with Voyage ATL. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed getting to know a little bit more about me and my history as an artist and my journey to this point that I am right now. Thank you so much to Voyage ATL for reaching out to me to do this interview. Thank you to Brandon Williams for referring Voyage ATL to me so that this interview could be made possible. And thank you to all of the people in my life who have made this journey as great as it's been so far. From my producer friends, my engineer friends, my photography friends, my DP friends. Thank you all so much for making this journey as beautiful as it has been and helping me in my growth.
Start to say, baby.